Writer-director Todd Phillips' gritty origin story Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix in the title role, emerged in late 2019 as one of the biggest surprise hits of the decade. And all the hubbub got us wondering, what would Joker 2 look like? All we can do at this point is speculate, but you know what? We're pretty good at that. Spoilers for Joker ahead. Speaking with IndieWire in November 2019, Todd Phillips set the record straight in regard to a potential Joker follow-up. He admitted that the idea of a sequel had certainly been discussed, but that there's not a deal in place yet, and Phoenix hasn't been approached about returning at this time. Phillips dished, "Here's the real truth about a sequel. While Joaquin and I have talked about it, and while touring the world with Warner Brothers executives, of course we're sitting at dinner and they're saying, 'So have you thought about—' But talking about contracts, there's not a contract for us to even write a sequel. We've never approached Joaquin to be in a sequel. Sorry, folks, that's the cold, hard truth."
Oh boy.
Why are you saying this? I don't need you to tell me lies.
The director also clarified that a purported meeting with Warner Brothers Pictures Group Chairman Toby Emmerich, which was originally misreported by THR, didn't go down the way the outlet had described it. While he copped to pitching a slate of films featuring DC villains during his initial Joker pitch, the notion had swiftly been shot down. It's worth noting that, even in the wake of THR's jumping the gun, neither Phillips nor Phoenix has shot down the idea of Joker 2. In fact, Phillips might have poured a bit more gasoline on the flames when asked about the idea at an industry event hosted by Deadline in late 2019. Phillips said with a chuckle, "When a movie does $1 billion and cost $60 million to make, of course the notion of a sequel comes up. But Joaquin and I haven't really decided on it. We're open. I mean, I'd love to work with him on anything, quite frankly, so who knows?" Phillips implied that if he and Phoenix do decide to revisit Arthur Fleck's world, though, it won't be the potential for more big box office bucks driving their decision. He explained, "A sequel would have to have a real thematic resonance the way this one did, ultimately being about childhood trauma and the lack of love and the loss of empathy. All those things are really what made this movie work for us, so we'd have to have something that had an equal thematic resonance."
Everybody is awful these days. It's enough to make anyone crazy.
Even if Joker 2 were to be confirmed tomorrow, at this early date, we wouldn't have any idea who might be filling out the flick's cast. But we do feel pretty safe in stating that there's absolutely no way Phoenix wouldn't return to further plumb the depths of Fleck's tortured mind if it were to happen. Phillips has repeatedly made it clear that there's no way he'd even entertain the possibility of a sequel if Phoenix, for whom he and Scott Silver wrote the first movie, weren't on board. Incidentally, while we can in all likelihood consider Phoenix a lock if Joker 2 gets the green light, the only other bit of info around potential casting, which we could confidently go on record reporting, concerns who we know wouldn't be in the movie: Robert Pattinson. The talented young actor will be portraying the title character in director Matt Reeves' upcoming picture, The Batman, but Phillips has strongly implied that Pattinson's Bruce Wayne and Phoenix's Arthur Fleck exist in completely different continuities. Asked at the Toronto International Film Festival if it were possible that Pattinson's Dark Knight could appear in a Joker sequel, Phillips was unequivocal, saying simply, "No, definitely not." This actually makes a ton of sense. For as Joker's fans know, the film's relationship to DC lore is a complicated one. Again, any attempt to parse out the plot of a potential Joker sequel would be an exercise in pure guesswork at this point. Of course, we can offer at least a couple guesses of the educated variety, but they mostly have to do with what the movie wouldn't be about. First and foremost, as revealed by Phillips' comments at TIFF, the film would not in any way, shape, or form be about Batman. Yes, Bruce Wayne did appear in Joker as a child of perhaps 10, and since Phillips has been clear on the fact that any sequel would simply continue to tell Arthur's story, it's likely that young Master Bruce would still be in middle school during the events of a potential follow-up. We can infer from Phillips's determination to keep the focus squarely on Arthur that any sequel is also unlikely to focus on any other of Gotham's budding supervillains. There just might, however, be a slight chance that a Joker sequel could introduce a cunning, cackling threat to Gotham other than Arthur. The real Joker. Follow us here. Ever since before Joker was released, fans have speculated that Arthur may not actually be the Joker with whom we're all familiar, but rather a sort of proto-Joker who serves as a formative influence on the real deal. The theory is compelling on its own merits, but it was lent a hell of a lot more credence than had been assigned to it previously when Phillips referred to it in the wake of Joker's staggering success. Phillips raised the possibility unprompted in a wide-ranging Los Angeles Times interview. The director said, "There's a lot of ways you could look at this movie. You could look at it and go, this is just one of his multiple choice stories. None of it happened. A lot of people I've shown it to have said, oh, I get it. He's just made up a story. The whole movie is a joke. It's this thing this guy in Arkham Asylum concocted. He might not even be the Joker. Maybe Joaquin's character inspired the Joker. You don't really know." No, we don't. But if they deign to give us Joker 2, Phillips, Silver, and Phoenix have an opportunity to clear it up for us. Could we perhaps see the emergence of the actual Joker in a sequel? It's an intriguing possibility, but only time will tell. Obviously, we don't yet have a release date for Joker 2, as the involved parties have yet to even commence talks. We don't even have an idea as to when the flick could potentially begin production. But it's pretty safe to say that Phillips and Silver would be inclined to take their time on the screenplay for a Joker sequel, crafting the most compelling story possible. In fact, the writing process would likely be among the lengthiest parts of any sequel's road to the screen. We say this because, considering Joker's critical acclaim and box office clout, everybody involved has a strong incentive to make sure that if the flick does get a follow-up, it's a worthy one. Rushing a second chapter to the screen would be folly. The first movie's titanic fanbase will still be there in 2 or 3 years, and even at that time, the indelible mark left on pop culture by Joker isn't likely to have faded. Of course, we'll be keeping our ears to the ground for any official announcement regarding Joker 2, and the minute we have it, we'll be beating down your door with the news. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.